play-wise, it's been a big talking point for the last few years in terms of a possession-oriented style of play, and maybe focus on the process, hoping that the results come, and maybe never got quite where they wanted to be with that. What's important to you as a head coach in terms of style of play?
So I was the assistant national team coach for the '94 World Cup under Bora Milutinovic, and it was completely appropriate at that time for the team to play what he would term a very defensive, conservative style of soccer. When I took over in '95 as an interim coach, it was my opportunity to sort of unleash the American spirit. And unleashing the American spirit is all about attacking-minded, playing to win as opposed to playing not to lose. And that's the spirit that I want to bring here. We are going to play a sophisticated style of soccer. Soccer here at Cal Poly, under the previous coaches, has developed and progressed dramatically. They play a beautiful brand of soccer. The only change that I would make is that I want to be, one, relentless in defending, and I also want to be more dynamic going forward. I want us looking to go to goal sooner. I want us to looking at getting behind players. I want to give players the freedom to attack and go at defenses. And I think that's going to be a style that's going to be very attractive to the community here and the students to come and watch.
Over here.
Travis Clark, KSBY. Coach, with all your international experience, how does that translate to the college level? Is there certain aspects on that level that you can use on this field on a college level?
Well, the game is the game, and there's a lot of competent college coaches, not only in the Big West, but all over the country that are now playing an exceptional brand of soccer. One that translates very well to players playing at the next level in the MLS or overseas. Certainly understanding what the demands are at the professional international level allows me very quickly to understand exactly how the demands are going to translate to our training sessions and the expectations during the matches. One of the things that, with my experience, that affords me is I see things very quickly. I see the breakdowns very quickly. And hopefully prior to that I'll be able to impart that to my players such that they see it quickly. One of the beautiful things about the game of soccer is that it's truly a player's game. There's no timeouts during a soccer game. And so literally all of your training and your coaching has to be done during the week. So my ability to impart that to the players and to give them the freedom to make decisions on the field, much like an on-field assistant coach, is something that I've always had, and I know that I will have with this group.
Coach, you mentioned filling the stands. Is there anything you kind of thought about to kind of continue the popularity of Cal Poly soccer and getting these seats filled outside of the blue-green rivalry?
Yeah, I think we as a team need to get out there and spend time in the community, spend time with soccer groups, get our names and faces out there so that there's a connection between the team and the local community. I know that I personally need to get out there and explain what we want to do to make life fun for these players and to bring a fun and an entertaining environment to the community. This is the only game in town, really. Cal Poly is the only game in town, and there really shouldn't be any other competition. It's not like we're in Los Angeles, or in San Diego or in San Francisco. This is the only game in town, and I know that when we put a good product on the field and when we have a connection with the community, they'll come.
Did you get a chance to talk to Phil Ruskin?
Sure, of course I did.
What was that conversation like?
Phil, I got to tell you, Phil did a phenomenal job this year. It's so very difficult. He went from being a volunteer assistant coach to a #1 assistant coach to an interim head coach at a very, very short period of time. Phil Ruskin is, in my opinion, going to have no problem finding employment. He's an outstanding young coach. He's a guy that, the first 2/3 of the season, I think the team was one of the top in the country. Then I think due to some injuries and some Unfortunate results towards the end of the season, they didn't make the conference playoffs. But I don't think that takes away from the job that he did. I think he stepped in at a very, very difficult time. And in talking with him, he is going to be very cooperative in the transition of this whole process. And I spoke to him 2 days ago, and he's a very classy, professional individual, and he's going to make it easy for me to transition.
JD?
Steve, I'm covering for my daughter who is working for Fox Sports West.
Okay.
So she sent me a text and said, I have to ask you this question. Considering the growth of the Academy program and the level of talent here in Southern California and your enthusiasm to support the local communities here, how extensive will your research be with the Southern California teams?
Well, what a great question for the Fox website, right? So, given that the Fox Soccer Channel is a very, very influential soccer outlet in this country, look, there's no question that we are in a state of incredible wealth as far as soccer players are concerned. To be honest, there's enough wealth of talent here where I don't even have to look outside the state. But I know there are people of quality that want to come to Cal Poly, both outside of California and internationally. So we will measure that and we'll take that into account. But the academy programs, both in Northern California and Southern California, are exceptional. I would hopefully, without disrespecting anybody in the rest of the country, I consider, especially Southern California, one of the top soccer areas in the country, as is the Northern California. And so I think, my staff and my focus is going to be just that, for the most part, in the state of California. Any other questions?
Yeah, this one's for Don again. What are the terms of the contract, the length and salary?
We are dialing that in right now. I will get that to you after a while.
Okay.
But we're working on that right now.
Okay.
It's an HR and I can't say that until they sign off on it, so I'll get that to you later.
Understood. And for Steve, is this a stepping stone?
More than a year. More than 2 years.
It is?
Sorry.
As somebody who's kind of done it all at this point, I mean, where do you want to go after this, or is this? I'll let you say it. I mean, what's next for you?
When you've done it all, you want to do it again. Seriously, I don't know of any coach that's competitive, that's won a national championship, that doesn't want to turn right around and do it again. And quite frankly, it gives me a lot of, it's quite a challenge. I would love to do it on 3 different campuses. So there's so much opportunity here. And like I said earlier, I love nothing more than being on that soccer field with these players. And the spirit to win, the desire to win. I took a little bit of time off after I left the Galaxy. To be honest, my president passed away for the LA Galaxy, and that was very difficult for me. And I took a little bit of time off, and I wanted to reconnect with family and reconnect with the community. But I have this incredible burning desire right now to get on that field and start winning.
So do you still have aspirations to go pro and go back in the pro game or in the international game?
I have no aspirations to coach at the professional level. I could say that publicly. Produce it. Put it on Fox. Put it on ESPN. Okay? I've been there, done that. I won the double. I'm very proud of that. I participated in 3 World Cups. Why not participate in the level of soccer that you love the most? And that's the collegiate level.
Maybe it's too soon to ask, but assistant coaches, staff-wise, is that something that you've settled on, or is that?
No, I told the players today that I'll have an answer for them when they come back in January. So we're vetting that now. I want to make sure that we have the very best staff possible for these guys.
And then you talked a little bit about the Big West, but can you characterize the Big West Conference in the context of the national scene? It seems like you've been paying a lot of attention over the past few years. Can you talk about the conference in general here and what the challenge is to compete in this conference?
I told my players earlier today that I wasn't going to talk about Santa Barbara until 2 days prior to the next time we play Santa Barbara. But I guess for the purpose of this, I'll mention the Santa Barbara name. By the way, my daughter went to the UCSB, so that'll make for interesting talk when the game comes up. But certainly, they've won a national championship there. They have a very good program. Tim Von Steeg does a great job. Chris Volk at UC Irvine now in his first year has done an incredible job. There are those that would say probably that George Kuntz left him with a very good squad, but bottom line is that he led those players, and beat some very good teams in the NCAA playoffs. And so that's a program on the rise, and certainly George Kuntz in his very first year at Cal State Fullerton, going from Irvine to Fullerton, participating in the NCAAs. I mean, and certainly I think Mike Lindenberger at San Francisco State, at the Sac State, is one of the best coaches in the country, and one of the best young coaches in the country. I've known him for many, many years. Terry Davila at Northridge, you never know with them. They're a little bit inconsistent, but on any given year, they can make the playoffs and get into the NCAAs. So I think